Okay, quick review on making our Sashiko block. You can see on my screen that I have my design open. One of the first things that I did is I went ahead and I came into the jog button and I moved it all the way over to the right in my embroidery hoop. The reason why is this design is not going to fill up the entire space on the hoop, and once again we're trying to conserve on our fabric. So you can see here that I've got my fabric in my hoop. I have moved the design all the way over, and my needle is indicating that this is the center of the design and we're pretty far over toward the right side of my hoop. You can see over here that I have trimmed off all the sample stuff that I was working on for our first little block. You're going to notice that I've got some paper towels stuck underneath here, and you're going to see under here that it's actually hooped with my fabric. I call this a shim. And the purpose of it is that whenever we only have one layer of fabric in our hoop, or something very thin, this is a time when you might be wanting to hoop, let's say a very sheer fabric or an organza or something like that to make freestanding flowers. You might want to consider doing this same technique. So I call these little paper towels shims. I keep them in my embroidery drawer so I don't always have to be cutting new ones. And the purpose of them is to keep the fabric tight in the hoop. All right, so it kind of is an extra measure of thickness in here. So what do I have in my hoop? All I have for my Sashiko block is the fabric itself. So what step number one is going to be is we're going to come over to our machine and we're going to use our basting. All right, so let's go ahead and let's turn that on. And we have needle thread in my needle and in my bobbin, and I'm just going to choose option number 1. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to baste a line around the outside edge of this design. So here we go. Hopefully I'm not going to bump into my shims. I think I'll be all right. So what this is doing for us is it's just showing me exactly where it is that I need to put my batting and my backing down for this particular block. All right, it's actually serving no other purpose than that. This is a placement line that is actually being stitched. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. It only takes a couple of seconds for it to stitch out. So we'll let it go for now. All right. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this hoop off of the machine. I'm going to turn it over to the back side, and I'm going to use my 505 spray, and I'm going to spray a piece of batting onto the back side of this hoop. I'm going to put a little bit of 505 spray on that batting, and then I'm going to stick on my backing fabric. Then I'm going to come back to the machine, and I'm going to stitch this same basting line once again. And then I'm going to go ahead and thread up my machine with my chosen thread color. It's only one color for this Sashiko block. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch it. And that's all there is to this block for stitching purposes. When it is completed, what I want you all to do is go ahead and trim it down. So I call these the side seams. Go ahead and trim your block down so that you've got about 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch along the side edges. And I want you to leave the bottom and the top, the full piece of fabric that we have already cut, because we're going to want that extra fabric up there. And there's also going to be some batting up along in this area. So just leave all of that extra fabric and batting along the ends. Okay, that's it for now.